The beggar girl said, "Don't eat that." The billionaire wouldn't have listened unless he saw it for himself. The plate gleamed beneath the chandelier light. A perfect arrangement of saffron rice and herb-dusted salmon, a dish prepared exclusively for Victor Hale, the billionaire whose name kept entire markets trembling. He had just lifted the fork when a voice, thin, broken, terrified, cut through the murmur of crystal and silver. "Don't eat that." Victor froze. No one shouted in his penthouse. No one barged in. No one dared. Yet the girl who had been dragged in by security moments earlier, filthy, shivering, hair tangled in knots, had said it with such sharp desperation that even his well-trained staff paused. He glared at her. "Excuse me?" Her lips trembled, but her eyes stayed locked on the steaming plate. "Please, if you eat it, you'll die." A ripple of amusement passed across his guests' faces. One chuckled. Someone whispered something about the insane ones. Security moved to remove her, but Victor held up a hand. Something about the way her breath hitched, the way she winced at the sight of the food, as though she felt the pain that waited for him struck, a nerve he hadn't felt in years. "Why?" he asked. She swallowed hard, shaking. "Because I saw them do it." "Do what?" Her voice broke. "Put the powder in." Laughter erupted around the table, loud enough to mask the tiny sound she made when she flinched. Victor watched her closely. She wasn't delusional. She wasn't high. Her pupils were steady. Her hands trembled like someone reliving a memory they wished they could claw out of their skull. "Who?" Victor asked. Her throat tightened. "I don't know his name, but he works here, in your building. He said he was making sure you never had the chance to ruin another life." She wiped her eyes roughly. "He didn't know I was sleeping behind the boiler." "I heard everything." Security grabbed her arms. Victor lifted his fork again, slow, taunting. "You expect me to believe a street girl who broke into my property?" But she didn't look at him, she looked at the fork. She looked as if she were watching a coffin lower into the ground. A sound escaped her, half sob, half plea. "Sir, I don't care if you throw me out. I don't care if you never believe me. Just don't eat that." Then Victor noticed something odd. Something he wouldn't have seen if the chandelier hadn't flickered. At that exact moment, under the salmon's glaze, a strange gray-green shimmer. Almost invisible, almost. A memory struck him. His CFO accusing him of ruining families with an acquisition. The threats he'd received after buying out a failing pharmaceutical company. The anonymous messages. The voicemail whispering, "You'll pay for what you've done." Victor lowered the fork slowly. "Stop," he ordered. Guests exchanged looks. The beggar girl sagged with relief. Victor called for his head of security. "Bring me the kitchen supervisor, now." But the supervisor wasn't in the kitchen. He wasn't anywhere. And the moment the lights flickered again, every hair on Victor's neck rose. Someone was in the penthouse besides the guests. Someone who had planned this evening very carefully. Before anyone could react, a crash echoed from the hallway. Then a scream. Then silence. The girl's voice barely rose above a whisper. "He said he was watching, waiting for you to take the first bite." The room descended into spiraling tension. Guests jumped to their feet. The staff looked pale. Victor stood, the plate untouched, feeling for the first time in years, a genuine threat tightening around him like cold hands. He turned to the girl. "What's your name?" "Lena," she whispered. A sound echoed again, closer this time. A deliberate footstep. Victor's pulse hammered. "Everyone stays here. Don't move." He motioned for Lena to stay behind him. She hesitated, then clutched the back of his jacket, trembling so hard he could feel it through the fabric. The penthouse dimmed as another light flickered out. Someone was killing the lights one by one, and they were coming straight for the dining room. Victor reached for the drawer built discreetly into his dining table. Inside lay a small emergency pistol. He flipped off the safety, jaw clenched. Guests whispered in panic. Lena whispered, "He said he wants you to see him before you die." Victor steadied his breath, raised the gun, and faced the hallway just as the final light flickered and went dark. The hallway glowed faintly from the emergency strips along the floor, just enough to show the blurred silhouette of a man standing at the far end. His posture wasn't threatening, if anything. It was almost casual, but the stillness was wrong. Too controlled. Too patient. Victor's grip tightened. "Show your face." The figure didn't move. Only his voice drifted through the dimness. Calm, level, chilling. You were supposed to take one bite. Just one. Lena's fingers dug into Victor's arm. Victor stepped forward. Who are you? You don't remember me, the voice answered. But I remember you. He took one step into the narrow strip of light. His face emerged, and Victor felt a shock of recognition, not from knowing the man, but from recognizing the logo on his sleeve, one of the laid-off chemists from the pharmaceutical company Victor had acquired. The company that had failed because Victor pulled funding from the research division to avoid a massive loss. The division studying a rare neurological disorder, the division this man was employed in. Victor swallowed, realization crashing into him. You're Dr. Merrill. The man smiled faintly, but it didn't touch his eyes. Good, so you do remember something. Victor kept the gun steady. This isn't the way. This is exactly the way, Merrill said. You cut the funding. You didn't just ruin careers, you ended futures. People who needed the treatment we were close to finishing. They never got it. Do you know who one of them was? He tapped his chest. My daughter. Lena made a tiny, startled sound. My daughter, Merrill repeated, voice hardening. Dead because you moved decimal points on a screen. Victor's mouth went dry. The air itself felt like ice. I'm sorry for your loss, but poisoning me won't bring her. It's not poison, Merrill said flatly. It's paralytic. You would have collapsed in front of your guests. Felt every second of your body shutting down while your mind stayed trapped inside. Exactly what my daughter went through. A cold shock tore through Victor. He felt Lena press closer behind him. Merrill, Victor said quietly. There are innocent people here. They can leave, Merrill said. They were never my target. He tilted his head, considering, then nodded toward the dining room. They can walk out. But you stay. Guests didn't wait to be told twice. They scrambled past Victor, avoiding Merrill's eyes, rushing to the elevator. But Lena didn't move. Merrill noticed her. You the stray. Victor stepped between them instinctively. She stays behind me. Merrill gave a soft laugh. Protective of her? Interesting. She warned me, Victor said. She saved my life. Merrill's expression faltered for half a second. Just long enough for Victor to see the humanity buried beneath his fury. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared. She shouldn't have been there, Merrill growled. I told myself no one would hear. She did, Victor said. And she saved me. Merrill lifted a small metal canister from his coat, a second dose of whatever. Paralyzed his daughter, then she can watch. Victor's heart hammered. He kept the gun raised. Don't take another step. But Merrill did. One step. Two. Victor fired. The blast echoed like thunder. Merrill stumbled back, shock flashing across his face. But Victor hadn't hit him. He'd fired into the wall beside Merrill's head. A warning. Turn around, Victor commanded. Merrill looked at him, breathing hard, fury and grief tangling in his expression. Do you think one bullet will erase what you did? No, Victor said. But maybe this will. He holstered the gun slowly and stepped toward Merrill without raising his hands in aggression. Instead, he held Merrill's gaze with an intensity that made Lena gasp. I'm reopening the research division, Victor said. Effective tomorrow morning. Full funding. No budget cap. Merrill froze. And I'll name it after your daughter, Victor continued. Every breakthrough will carry her name. Every patient we save will know she mattered. Merrill's throat tightened violently. His grip on the canister loosened. Victor stepped closer. Put it down, please. Silence pressed on the hallway like a held breath. Then Merrill exhaled shakily and let the canister fall. Security stormed the hallway seconds later, pinning him to the ground. He didn't fight. He didn't struggle. He simply stared at the ceiling, tears gathering in his eyes. As they hauled him away, Lena's legs gave out. Victor caught her. You saved my life, he said softly. She shook her head. No, you listened. Victor looked at the untouched plate, the trembling girl in his arms, and the trail of chaos left by one man's grief. Lena, he said, voice lowering, you're never sleeping behind a boiler again. Not while I'm alive. Her eyes widened. Why? Why would you help me? Because tonight, Victor said, you did what no one else ever has. What's that? You told me the truth. And I believed you. Outside the city glittered. unaware of how close its most powerful man had come to dying. But Victor knew, Lena knew, and somewhere in the shadows, justice, twisted, broken, desperate, had nearly claimed another victim. Victor looked at Lena gently. Let's rewrite everything from here. And for the first time in his life, he meant every word.